You're very welcome to Confident Women Ireland's Woman to Woman show with me, Roisin the Cleric. For many women, our image matters, and what we wear matters, and the colours of what we wear matters. As startup entrepreneurs and small local traders, we're always thinking about our branding and what our branding says about us and our business. It takes 90 seconds to make a first impression, and what we wear is aligned to our personal branding and the branding of our business, says one of Ireland's leading image consultants, Maria Macklin. Once we get our personal branding and business branding right, we're on to a winner. Maria helps her clients discover and uncover their personal brand, empowering women to show up as their most authentic, comfortable selves consistently. Maria empowers women to dress with confidence and to connect to our personal inner personality with our outward persona, and helps women find power in wearing colour. Maria helps business women dress for success with intent so we become more productive. Maria Macklin, you're so very welcome to Confident Women Ireland's Woman to Woman show.
Thank you, Roisin. It's lovely to be here.
Thank you. Maria, we spoke on the radio last year, but now we've transitioned over to YouTube. Maria, can you first maybe start off telling the Confident Women Ireland's audience who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do?
Let me start with my why, because that's the thing that's most important to me. I help women and men, actually, to be seen, be heard, be valued. If you're not seen, then you won't be heard. And if you're not heard, you won't be valued. When you value yourself, then other people in turn will value you back. So I encourage women to step into their confidence, to stand out. Some people will work at 40 watts, some people are 100-watt bulbs, and it depends on what's right for you. You will work at your own vibrancy and your own frequency. And it's about stepping into that, owning your space, and not having to apologize for who you are. You should never have to apologize for who you are once you're authentic with who you are.
And that's really true, because, you know, wherever you go, there you are.
Wherever you go, there you are. And you shouldn't, what other people think of you, a great quote by Breda McCaig, what other people think of you is their business.
Yes.
You can influence it, but you can't control it. But what you can control is what you do with you. Yeah. And how you portray that outward. And your visual expression is like your opening paragraph when you walk into a room. That's all we have to go on. So people make all sorts of assumptions about you. You said in your introduction, the impression is formed within 90 seconds. In the first 10 seconds, that's where the hit is. And that's where you've got to get it right. And when you don't make a good first impression, you have to have 8 positives with that person to get back to a starting point. So imagine if you're in a client negotiation and you've made not the most ideal first impression, you have a lot of work to do to backpedal to get back to the starting point. So it matters. People think it doesn't, but it does.
It does. It really does. I'm just thinking about a time where I made a terrible first impression, and I'm going, oh God, I've got a lot of 8 points to get back up with then.
And the other person has to work hard to get back to, you know, to give you the chance to do that. So the hard work happens on both sides.
Yeah,
when you make a good first impression, you're building trust at speed.
Trust and speed. I like that, because that's exactly what it is. First impressions, as you said, 90 seconds to make up that mind, whether they like you, and if you're in business, whether they want to do business with you, or whether they think that, you know, you are trustworthy and reliable to do business with you.
Yes. And what you wear, there's an awful lot of things you can say in what you wear. So you can decide to be more credible, more competent, more trustworthy. And that all comes from how you present yourself in the first instance.
Yes. And what we wear is a form of nonverbal communication, isn't it?
It is. It absolutely is, because you can express your personality. I don't say dress for success. I say dress to express. Wear what you are. You aren't what you wear, but you need to wear what you are. And so when I have clients here, we dig deep into their personality, and you have to bring all of yourself to work. There's no point conforming to a social norm when it doesn't feel right for you.
Yeah.
Because then you are acting, you're wearing somebody else's clothes, you're playing somebody else's part. And that's very stressful and it's very tiring. And back to the first point, people have to work harder to get who you are.
Yes. So, you know, that's another point, is colours are so important, aren't they? Tell us about the power of colour.
Well, yeah, colours, how you wear your clothes gives you confidence. So there's a whole piece of work called Enclothed. The whole study is called Enclothed Cognition. Clothing can enhance your psychological state. Mm-hmm. So it can improve your performance on task. And there have been studies done, not just about color, but about the type of clothes you wear. So from the color point of view, red is probably one of the most confident colors. I'm wearing red today, and I do that on purpose, particularly when I'm online, because the impact needs to be, you need to exaggerate your impact slightly when you're online, because everything is dulled down and you're a lot smaller. If I'm in real life, you have more of me. So here you've only got a third of me. Red is one of the most confident, powerful colors. It's also the danger color. So it's the stop sign. Yellow is a great color. It's the COVID notices. We're all in yellow. So we notice them. The impact is very high. You can't hide with yellow and you can't hide with red. The other thing about those colors and the high impact colors, if you look at my wheel behind me, they're the ones on the outside. And those are the colors that keep us visible. So when you're a woman in a man's world, it's a great idea to add a small amount of one of those impact colors. They give you confidence, and your performance improves when you wear one of those colors. And that's what the science tells us, that a team on a pitch wearing red will outperform the team wearing another color. They mightn't always win the match, but they will work harder.
Right, that's really interesting.
Yeah. And then there are other colors, Roisin, which give an element of trust. So blue is a huge color of trust. You'll see that our security forces, our bankers, our lawyers often wear dark navy or blue. Yeah. And that instills trust in us, because that's what we need to see. If they're handling our money or they're handling our safety, we need to trust them.
And what about the color black?
Black is the most formal color, traditionally worn for mourning. Queen Victoria, once Albert died, didn't move out of black for the rest of her life. So traditionally worn for mourning. It's a very high authority color. So the formality of it is very high, which is why we have black tie as the most formal dress code. However, it's a really hard color to wear successfully. Yes. There's a myth out there that black suits everybody, that everybody should have a little black dress. If you go into a room of people and everybody's wearing black, the one person you'll see is the person wearing red or pink or even navy or cream or some other neutral. So black, number one, is very hard to wear successfully. It doesn't keep you visible, and it often drags you down because it absorbs light. It's not actually a color, it absorbs the light. So it'll absorb the life out of your face in many instances. So you have to be very careful with it.
Yeah, blue would be one of my favorite colors, and then pink. And so what I want to ask is, you said that, you wear red, but it makes you tall, but you only see a third of you on Zoom. What about small women? How do we I'm petite, I'm barely 5 foot. So what would be a good color for me to wear?
Oh, the colors you wear will depend on your undertone, your skin undertone. So we have warm and cool colors. If you look at the wheel behind me, the warm colors are at the top and the blue, or the cool colors at the bottom. Now, everybody gets all of the colors. Not everybody gets all of the shades of color. So some of us have warmer colors and some of us have cooler colors. So while I have blue, it's a turquoisey kingfisher blue. There are softer, cooler blues, which look better on a cool tone woman. So your height doesn't really matter. You can still take up an awful lot of space based on your personality. And it's really your personality that takes up the space rather than your physical presence. I
like that. Yeah, your personality. But you know how they say small people, I'll get on to the personality now in a second, but you know how they say small petite women, they shouldn't wear 2 colors, they should wear block colors to give them a bit of height. Is that true? Or is that...
Again, it comes down to your personality. If you've got a very strong, dramatic personality, you're going to feel very boring in one color from head to toe. Right. You're going to need some contrast, and you're going to need some print, maybe, and you're going to need to walk into a room and everybody needs to notice you. There are some people who do that. There are other women, tall and small, who would prefer to take up less space. Mm-hmm. And again, it's not really about your physical presence. We at House of Colour always recommend that you wear 3 colors.
3 colors, right? I never knew that.
And a third color, that's where the impact is. So today I've got a neutral bottom, you can't see it, but I'm wearing a cream pair of trousers, red t-shirt, and one of my best olive greens. So I have other colors as well, because I have different color shoes. But all 3 colors is better than 2.
Right, must remember that one, Maria. Maria, our personality. Tell us about our personality. We seem to follow, and we're all guilty of it, a lot of us women who don't have your knowledge or your area of expertise. We sort of conform to fashion, of what's coming into fashion. And when we do that, as you say, we're not really showing our personality, are we? So how do we sort of get into that confidence in wearing clothes that show our personality without conforming
what
to
happens
fashion?
when you do that is you're typically being somebody else.
Yeah.
So if you're following an influencer or you're shopping with a friend, typically what you do is you buy their clothes. And when you get home, you wonder why you have a wardrobe full of clothes and nothing to wear, because they're not your clothes. You've got everybody else's clothes in your wardrobe. When you understand the styles and the cuts and the shapes and the lengths that are right for you, your wardrobe belongs to you. Whether everybody else likes it or not is irrelevant. If you can get into it and feel comfortable in it and you look like you know, when you look in a mirror and you say, that's me.
Yeah.
That's when the clothes are right for you. The tricky part is that we shop with others, or we're influenced by others, and we're influenced by fashion, and we're influenced by trends. When you understand the clothes that are right for you, whether you love glamour, whether you love clothes that you need to move around in, that give you a swish, whether you like the drama, something that's really out there and bold and you come into a room and you make a big statement, or whether you like dainty, pretty details, there's something for everybody. But it's about understanding which of those are right for you, which speaks to your personality. And therefore, when you get that, we give you a set of guidelines and you can go into a shop and go, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine. I don't even need to look over there.
Yeah, I scan the shop. When I go in, I scan the shop, but then, and I go, my daughter looks at everything and I go, I just go in and I scan the shop and I go, no, nothing in here for me.
Yes, and when you understand your clothing personality, we call it, then you can scan the shop with a really clear funnel in an educated way with intent. And for me, I go in, I see my colors first, and then I pick the garment, I check it for style. If it's not right, it goes back. So I very rarely come home with mistakes. Everything in my wardrobe works for me. I spend less time, I spend less money, and the value I get from each of my garments is very, very, very high. So the return on investment is high. It's hugely sustainable, hugely sustainable.
And you have a saying I read somewhere that don't allow. Let me remember this. Don't allow clothes to rent room in your rent. Don't allow clothes to rent space in your wardrobe. Got it?
Yes, there shouldn't be any squatters. You shouldn't have squatters in your wardrobe. Everything should be earning its keep and paying its rent. And everything in your wardrobe should have lots of friends. So if you're buying a new item, you should already be able to make 4 outfits with it when you bring it home.
I must remember that one. Yeah, because I would sort of change and match in different things. And when I buy something and I go, okay, what would this go with, and what different outfits? And I notice I dress differently in the winter months than I do the spring and summer months, and I have a completely different style. Maybe because I was a spring baby, and I just dress differently in the summer, completely differently.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because my style is consistent all year round. You know what you're going to get with me. It doesn't really change season to season. My colors don't change season to season. I have my set of colors and that's all I ever wear. And it makes my life very, very easy because the mixing and matching I can do in my wardrobe is just phenomenal. I mean, the number of combinations are endless. And I always feel the bonus of this is the worst you will look is good every single day.
Oh, well, I like that one. I must take that one from you. I mostly wear blue. I've so much blue in my wardrobe, and I always feel happy in blue or pink or green as well. So I feel happy. So now I want to sort of get the personality. We go into the shop and we do things. We're all now working online, and lots of us are working the hybrid model now. Post-COVID, it was all face-to-face, but now we're still on working from home, a lot of us, the hybrid model. How do we sort of dress for Zoom and working virtually online, still staying professionally, possibly casually smart? How do we get that right?
Well, I always tell my clients to think about, first of all, you have to think about how you're being perceived. So just because you can go casual to the workplace doesn't mean you should. It's not a rule, it's a guideline. Right. So you need to be very careful about that. The more flesh you show, the more authority you lose. So the more your credibility drops. So you need to be very careful about that. And some people think this is nonsense, but actually all of the research would show that if you have a bunch of men in a room and one of them is wearing a shirt and tie, everybody will defer to him as the most senior person in the room, whether he is or whether he isn't, based on a first impression and based on not knowing anything about them.
Psychology.
Yes.
Right.
So how you're perceived matters. If you have a managerial role and there are people looking up to you, you need to look like the person who needs to be looked up to. That makes sense.
Yes.
You need to look like a safe pair of hands, and you need to gain their trust and respect. You need to look like you know what you're doing.
Yeah. Even if you don't, make it look like you do know what you're doing, and gives that the psychological effect of that when you walk into a room. Wow, she looks like she knows what she's talking.
Yeah. If you're having a difficult conversation with somebody, you might need to drop that, relax it a bit, change a formal jacket for a less formal jacket, open a button up at your neck, and because you will then become a bit more approachable. So you're relaxing, and the perceptions of you will change as somebody who's open, approachable. I can talk to her. She's friendly. She'll hear me, or he will hear me. It's the same for a man. So opening up a little bit and relaxing what you're wearing will allow you to do that. So think about how you're being perceived. That's the first thing. What is the statement you want to make? How do you want people to describe you when you leave the room? I ask my clients to think of 4 words. What are your 4 key words that you would like, how you would like to be remembered, or how you would like people to describe you? And my key words are: I'm always neat. I'm always structured. I like to know when something starts and finishes. My clothes are structured. I can't have them flapping around me. That's just for me.
Yeah. I
like to be contemporary and modern and edgy, and I like to be fun.
Yeah, that really comes across, because you really get that on your Instagram page and your videos. You do become, you're fun, and you even had one up, but you have glasses, different glasses, and everything else for different outfits. And I love that, because you just really, for me, you make feeling, for me, we'll get this right. Here on Confident Women Island, our audience is 35 up, midlife. And you, for me, have made, when I watch your videos and posts, it's like, wow, Maria Macklin is making feeling midlife really cool and fun. And
very kind, rushing.
But it's true. You make it fun, kind, and you put energy. And even in your posts about what to wear and how to wear, it's about energy. And you're giving us women that energy and vitality in your posts.
Thank you. That's very kind. I'm glad that's
it's not kind. It's true. It's honest.
Yeah, and some people won't like that, and that's up to them. Yeah. But I can only do what's right for me, and hope that comes across too. Because when I'm doing that, I'm talking to you. Yes. My aim is to have every woman and man look in the mirror, love who they are.
Yes.
Without apologizing, without pointing out the 1 or 2 things they don't like about themselves. Just love who they are right now. And I'm trying to do that one person at a time.
And to be ourselves and connect
completely.
To our self-confidence and to wear our clothes confidently.
Yes, completely be yourself. To throw away the throwaway remarks, don't let them in. To not be your worst critic, because we are. We say things to ourselves that we wouldn't say to anybody else. To change the language to a positive one, and to not be defined by the sizes on the labels of those clothes.
Yes. Now, I was before, because menopause, midlife, the weight gain got me. And no matter, my kids used to laugh, Mommy, go on the small fork diet and the small plate diet, nothing. And then she kept saying, no matter what you eat, you still put on the weight. So I refused to buy a size larger. Then in the end, last 2 years, I go, if I need the size larger, I'll buy the size larger. But that took an awful lot of psychologically talking to myself and getting the psychology around that, and dressing for my body. That's really important, isn't it? Dressing for your body.
Hugely important. Yes, it's we covered 3 things. It's like a Venn diagram. Your body architecture. You have to dress for the woman you are. You can't dress for somebody else, because you are different. And you are unique, and you have to celebrate that uniqueness. You've only got one body.
Yeah. And one life.
It's the best you've got. So you've got to make the most of it. We look at your color palette and which are the right ones for you. Those ones up, let me see if I can point backwards. Those ones there are the right ones for me. That's where I live. Uh-huh. And you have to add in your personality. And when you have those 3 pieces, then the bit in the middle is your style. It's unique to you, and it's what you will do. And when you have that, then you have consistency, and you can be appropriate. You can dress it up, you can dress it down, you can move into casual, you can move into formal, but the essence of you will always be there.
Oh, that is brilliant.
Now, on the sizing thing, Roisin, I put up a post recently that we should not say we are a size, whatever we are, because we are not. We are women. We are not a size 18 or a size 16. So the sizing isn't a target, it's a guideline. Right? It's not a target. So you don't want to be aiming to be a size, whatever it is. If you put on a bit of weight, you go up a size. Nobody is running down the street after you, checking the label in the back of your pants. Nobody. If it bugs you, cut the label off. But, the sizings are guidelines. They're a social construct that were put together in the 40s, in the 1940s, largely in the States. And they picked a set of numbers. I mean, why is it 8, 10, 12, 14? Who knows? Nobody knows. So they picked a random set of numbers. They used the body shape of that decade, which is completely different to the body shape we have now. And that's where the sizing has come from. 75% of us do not fit the sizes in the shops.
No. And all different brands have different sizing.
Different sizes. Yes.
And so now when they go into a shop, is it a small fitting or a large fitting? Or, is it a tight fitting?
And they try it on.
Yeah.
You try it on.
The
fit is what's important. The size isn't.
Yes. That's what I'm slowly coming to realize again, and being comfortable in what I'm wearing.
Absolutely.
Because that's really important, that I feel comfortable and confident in what I'm wearing and for the purpose of what I'm wearing something for.
And you do a 360 view of it. You check it from the back, from the side, from the front, and you sit on that chair in the changing room. It's not for your handbag, it's for you to sit on. So you can make sure that the clothes do what they need to do when you're sitting down. So sometimes they don't.
That's why the chair's in the changing room.
Well, that's what I say. That's what I said to my
I like that.
Always use the chair to sit on, because if you're not comfortable in it, you won't wear it.
No, I never thought about it. I'll do that from now on, Maria. Definitely. So, Maria, tell us now, we entrepreneurs and women in business and startups, as we were talking about personal brand, can you tell us about the importance of a personal brand and a business brand, and how to dress with intent?
Okay, so we use in House of Coat, well, let me go back to branding. Branding came in, really, the history of brand is that in the 1800s, there were common grazing areas. We know in the UK, you still have Clapham Common, you've got Ealing Common. Those common areas were open to everybody to use. And so everybody's livestock was grazed on common areas. And in order for people to identify which was theirs, they branded them. You've seen them in the old Westerns where they're branding cattle. The cattle are roaming, you know yours from your neighbours because you have a different brand. Okay, so that's where branding came from. Company branding then came in, where companies needed to have some way of communicating their values and their essence and what they stood for and what they were trying to achieve, their why, I suppose. Yes. And everybody bought into the company brand. You had to be part of it. You were the brand, you were in the brand family, and everything had to be consistent through your logo and your colors and your font and what you stood for, how you behaved. Your personal brand isn't something you can slap on you. It's something that you already have. Even when you haven't thought about it, you have a personal brand. For us at House of Colour, we dig deep and we uncover it. It's there. You mightn't understand what it is, but we uncover it. We use Carl Jung's theory of body archetypes, which states that your body shape will determine something of your personality. So you have to do that. But I can already say something about you based on what you've told me. And I have a sense of the type of clothes you need to be wearing because your personality is reflected in your body shape. For example, Carl Jung described it using fairy tale characters. So the very angular person in the fairy tale is always the Wicked Witch.
Yes.
Or the wicked Captain Hook person. They're angular, they're pointy, they're sharp. They can be scary. When they come into a room, we all know they have arrived. They take up a lot of space. Freddie Mercury was one. Cher is one. Lady Gaga is possibly one, but they're generally angular body shape and they're sharp and pointy. They need to wear sharp, pointy clothes and they need to be seen. They won't sneak into the back of a room. They'll walk up to the front row. Right?
Right.
We have the classic body shape, which generally is in proportion. That's the 25% women who fit the clothes on the rack, because their proportions are generally even. I don't understand how that works, but it does.
Yeah.
The classic people in the pantomime or in the fairy tale is the king or the queen. They look like quality. They need quality clothes. They can't wear cheap clothes. They like to match. So they like their earrings to match, their belt to match their shoes. And they love structure, order, symmetry, balance. And that's how they live their lives. So all of these people, it's not just in how you dress. This is your personality. This is how you prefer to be. And we call those the king or the queen, but it's the classic. And it's like an example is James Bond, the character, not the actor, but the character. He's always sleek. He's always clean shaven. He's always well put together. He oozes quality.
Yes.
When he looks scruffy, we lose a sense of him. Right. The natural in the archetypal world is the person who needs their clothes to move. So they need swish. They love texture. They have a less structured day because they don't like structure. So when you put them in what our sort of corporate standards are, dresses and jackets, they struggle because they feel hemmed in and they feel like, they can't move. And they need to have an open neck because that's where their preferred place is. They need movement. They love texture. They find it hard to shop online because they like to feel the clothes.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
Yeah. When they come home from work, they need the comfort. They kick off their shoes. They might take off their makeup and they'll get into their comfy clothes.
Yeah.
Comfortable is a huge word. I mean, we all need to be comfortable, but for the natural people, it's a big, big word. And in the pantomime, it's the hero who jumps on the horse, runs through the woods and rescues the princess in the tower. Their clothes need to allow them to move. The next, there are 6 of these. The 4th one is the gamine. They're high energy. They're usually smaller, petite, androgynous, pixie face often. They need to be neat, contemporary, a bit edgy and fun. I'm describing myself here, but this is where I sit. The best example I can think of which everybody will know is Graham Norton. He's like a little pixie. He comes onto the stage. He's full of energy. He bounces. He's all movement and he's very energetic and it's infectious. Yeah. For some people, it's too much and he'll tire them out because if you're a natural and you're a bit more relaxed, that energy can sometimes be overpowering. So you have to understand how to relate to these other people, and then you either change or just alter how you be and adapt how you are so that other people can relate to you. So we call those the gamine. The 5th one is the ingenue, and this is the princess in the pantomime. And they are usually smaller, a bit delicate, often, usually a very strong, defined waist. And they are the people who love the details. So if you're giving them information, they'll ask a question, and then they'll need to ask another question, and they need all the information before they make a decision. They're wonderful accountants. They're wonderful forensics. A lot of them in business, actually, because they watch the detail and they're very strong and they're very determined women, but they can look very vulnerable. So we have to give them some tools to put authority into their clothing without losing their ingenue, because that's a really key part. I mean, you have to bring all of yourself to work. And then the final one is the romantic. And the romantic is usually a circle on a circle with a very defined waist. So they're very curvy, like an hourglass often, softer. And they're the fairy godmother. And they love to pull people in and give them a big hug. They're very nurturing and they're very high yin. And they love to treat themselves and they're very caring. We have a lot of them in the caring industries. But they love their glamour. They have to be dressed up every day. They cannot wear things that you find in a man's wardrobe. They don't feel comfortable in a button-up shirt. They'll need a blouse. They'll need lots of jewelry, all of their makeup, all the time. And they're not very good in flats. And most of us are a mix of 2 of those. And once we understand where you are there, then we give you a set of guidelines of how to move around within that. But I can get rid of, I don't need to look at glamour or ingenue, because those aren't right for me. So I can just go into a shop and go, don't even need to look at those. So my wardrobe is very much about me. Yes,
they're an extension of your personality, and they communicate who you are and your personality.
Yeah. And you can, I bring it with me everywhere. So whether I'm running up a mountain, but I don't run, walk, but if I'm doing sports, if I'm casual, if I'm formal, the essence of me is always there.
Yeah, and that's really important, because as we said, wherever you go, there you are. And and you always know when you talk to people and you go, wow, she really dresses to her personality. And that's really important. And that's about confidence too, and self-confidence.
It is, and it's also about consistency, Roisin. If you, I don't know, I know you're an Ulster woman, and you used to have opal fruits. They're now called Starburst. And you remember when they changed the packaging, and we all went, "They've changed the packaging. What does that mean?" And you have to rebuild trust with the brand when it changes its packaging. What happens when you're not consistent is that every time we see you, you're changing your packaging, and people have to really work hard to figure out, who is this person? What does she stand for? What does he stand for? Because the consistency is not there. So if you move from one day being a romantic to being an ingenue to being a natural to be, because you've seen somebody on social media putting up a dress or a suit or whatever it is, you're in somebody else's clothes. You lose that consistency, and you have to keep building trust with your customers because you're not showing up as you all the time.
Right, that's really, I like that about the opal fruits, because I had a big issue with opal fruits and with Snickers Snickers bar used to be a marathon.
Yes.
And I like, they're not Snickers, it's a marathon, it's opal fruits. And it was like, I had difficulty with that for years. And do people dress differently in different parts of the country? Or is it all the same?
Oh gosh, that's something I haven't even considered. I don't know. I mean, what I have noticed, which is not really to answer your question, but I have noticed that because the brands that we now wear are ubiquitous. So if you go to a German high street or a Parisian high street or a Spanish high street, you see H&M and Zara, and they're all the same. So the cultural identity, I think, has blurred a lot. You used to be able to recognize a French person, an Italian person, and a German person based on their clothes. I think we've lost that.
Have we?
Or do we dress differently in different parts of the country?
Maybe up north and also maybe up north, the more northern north we go, we wear warmer clothes.
Yeah. I haven't seen that. I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
The style doesn't be different, anywhere we go.
No, I don't think so.
No. So because I don't know why that came into my head, because I remember years ago when we used to live in Africa and Saudi Arabia, and when I came back to Ireland, I used to find people down south used to dress differently than the people in the north.
Oh, really?
That's always stuck with me. I don't know why, but it's always stuck with me. Yeah, it's really.
I do know that Irish people dress really, really well, and they don't have the reputation for that, but they really dress very well.
We do, don't we?
Yes.
We definitely do, and we put an awful lot of effort into it.
Yeah.
We do. We love our clothes and our style.
Yeah, so, and we probably spend too much, but
Yeah, we probably do. I know I do. Have to always go into Dunn's or somewhere when they go, just have a wee look.
Yes, and that's the other thing. You were talking about shopping with intent and wearing your clothes with intent. Shopping with intent is really important too. So we are in the era of sustainability. House of Colour has always talked about sustainability. Buy less, buy better, make it work.
Yes.
Always buy less, buy better. And that's where, when everything in your wardrobe works with everything else, you get your return on your investment. I always say to my clients, before you go to the supermarket, what's the first thing you do? You look in your fridge, you see what you have, you see what you haven't, you make a list. Before we go clothes shopping, what's the first thing we do? We go clothes shopping. We don't make a list. So you have to really have, and I have a piece of paper in my wardrobe, and when something wears out or I have something in there that I have nothing to go with it, it goes on my list. I need something to go with those trousers. I need some tops, or I need whatever it is. I keep a list. I don't go shopping for clothes without having a shopping list. You have to know what you have, and you have to know what you haven't.
That's really good. Now I'm going to start using that one now. I have different wardrobes for different functions of my job. Many entrepreneurs and business people, we have portfolio careers. We've got different jobs. And I have that. And I always know if I have an appointment, okay, first thing I think, and everybody laughs at me, if somebody phones up and says, can you go here, go there? I think, what am I going to wear? And as long as I get what I'm going to wear right, I know I'm going to go, and I'm going to be on time and everything else. So it's the psychology behind that. And also, that's really important to me, is having that planning ahead of me of what am I going to wear. So I have six different wardrobes, right? I even had walking the dog wardrobe. It was a small one, what I used to wear when I was walking the dog. Because as we were talking in the beginning, when I put on certain clothes, I get into that mode, and I get into that focus.
Could you imagine if you went to the gym in your suit?
Oh, No.
You know, you just wouldn't do the work.
No.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So my clothes get me, as you say, into tent. I get focused, I get energized, and I'm in that moment, and I put that hat on me, as they say. On the radio, something really stuck out to me the last time we spoke on the radio was you said lipstick, red lipstick. You reminded me of my mother, and it brought me back to my mother's and our mother's generation. And she said, no to the red lipstick. But my mother would never have opened the front door without her lipstick on. And you said, and it really just struck with me, that red lipstick, people listen to you when you wear lipstick.
Yes, it doesn't have to be red. It just has to be a good lipstick in your color. Again, every group of colors has a different set of lipsticks.
Yeah.
The research says that when you are wearing professional makeup, not overdone or not underdone, that you will be seen to be more credible, competent, and trustworthy. Now, there's a whole history behind why we wear the pieces we wear. So I'm today wearing a necklace, earrings, my lipstick, my glasses, my rings, my bracelets, and there's a history behind that.
Yeah.
All of those give me rank, and all of those, way back, there was a law called sumptuary law, which said that if you were a particular status in society, you had to dress in a particular way. So that when we met you on the street, we knew who you were, we knew what rank you had, and we knew how to behave towards you. So if you were higher up in society, and the closer you came to the royal court, the more details you had on your clothes. And you were allowed, if you dressed above your station, we still use that term, if you dressed above your station, you were fined, and you were fined very heavily because you were doing something you weren't allowed to do.
Wow.
So if you were below the rank of lord, you couldn't have a pointer in your shoe longer than 2 inches, for example, because you were fined, right? All of that was abolished somewhere in the middle of the 1800s because we needed society to be based on merit rather than an inherited hierarchy. So that was all abolished. However, we still add rank subconsciously to our clothes. If you ever watch a press conference with police officers, you can very quickly figure out who's the superintendent and who's the chap who was out on the street, who's the captain and who's the squaddie, based on what they're wearing. Because the captain will have a lot more detail, a lot more structure. He'll have numbers, he'll have detail on his collar like this. He might have stripes, more buttons. He'll have a lanyard and a whistle. He might have stripes on his pocket on his shirt, all of that. And we add those details now. You have them on you. You have your glasses, you have your lipstick, you have your earrings. I have a necklace. Your necklace is your jugular protection. So when you go into battle, you're protecting your jugular and you're saying to people around you, you can't get me, I'm in charge. That's the man in the shirt and the tie. It's the woman with the necklace. And the higher up it is, the more protection you're having. If you have a collar on your shirt and it's closed up, again, jugular protection. Your jacket is your coat of armor. So I can take all of these off and I can very quickly move into a casual dress code where I've lost my protection. I'm much more open to ideas, maybe. I'm not looking like I need to be in charge. And your lipstick is the equivalent of, in the military, we have clean shaven face. Yes. Your lipstick is the equivalent. So what people are seeing is someone who looks like she knows what she's talking about. It frames what you say.
And so people are listening to you because the lips
people
are moving.
Listen to you. It's easier for them to listen to you.
Perfect.
It doesn't mean they won't listen to you without lipstick, because people say to me, you're telling me to wear lipstick. I'm not telling you to wear lipstick. I'm telling you what the research says when you do wear lipstick. And it's how you're being perceived. It's way back to that first impression.
Yes.
How you're perceived. You look like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And you also mentioned before too, you know how you said about the jewelry we wear, and you also, as you talked about the military, you said that women, we wear, as you said, we wear the jewelry, and the necklace and the belt also protects you, and that the
belt is your ammunition.
Yes, yes.
You're not wearing a belt particularly for a man. You're firing blanks, so you need to be wearing your belt. And it's where they carry their ammunition.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, my son's in the Defence Forces. Yeah, and the belt. Yeah, and also you said that the Queen in court that that the brooch is at a certain angle up here, and the higher it is, the higher the rank.
The higher your status. Yes, and she if you ever see a picture of the Queen beside Camilla, beside Kate,
yes.
the Queen's brooch is higher up on her shoulder. Camilla's is a little bit lower and Kate is the lowest because she's the lowest ranking in that society. Subtle things. That's the detail. Also, when you're wearing a watch, what you're telling people is that I value your time. Time is really important to us. It's the one thing we're running out of. So you wear a watch. When you're wearing something on both arms, you're saying to people that you're fair and balanced.
Right. Because I used to wear a lot of jewelry, and then I just stopped wearing it. I think possibly during COVID. And even this morning, I put a pearl necklace on and I took it off. I said, probably too much, and took it off.
Yeah. Well, it depends what you're doing. Yeah. So this is about really understanding your audience. How do you want to be perceived? If you have too much, you might be seen to be overdressed. So you take one off.
Yeah.
If you feel like underdressed, you switch your casual jacket for maybe something a bit more structured and a bit more formal. And you can very quickly change how you're being perceived.
Yes.
So you put on a structured jacket and a bit more formal, put my necklace back on, I might add a brooch, and it's a whole different vibe. And that's me. I'm ready for the boardroom now, or I'm ready for that important client meeting or that new customer or whatever it is. So that's you can switch it up and you can switch it down. The worst thing is if you're overdressed or underdressed and you feel like, I had a client recently and she was at a networking event and she felt like she couldn't participate in the conversation at the table. And when she thought about it afterwards, it was because she felt she was underdressed, and that didn't give her permission to speak. Right back to my very beginning. Be seen, be heard, be valued. When you feel like you're seen inappropriately, you feel like you have permission to speak and you have the confidence to speak up, and then you'll be valued.
What should we talk about networking events, because women now have so many networking events, especially in business, to go to. What would you recommend? I know you probably say what suits your personality and
always.
Yeah, always. But what should we say maybe wear then when we're going to a business event or networking event where we're promoting ourselves and our personal brand and our business? What would you suggest that is still staying in line with our personality? What's the best way to dress?
I would be very careful about going very casually, because you are a business person in a business environment and there's an appropriate dress code, even though it's not written anywhere and we've all moved to be very casual. I would always say, pay attention to the details that we've just talked about. You can always slip one off if you feel like you're overdressed, but it's better to add one. There used to be a phrase that Chanel used way back in the 50s, take one accessory off on your way out the door. I'm now telling my clients to put them on, because everybody has gone so casual that we can't see their authority and we can't see their rank. So I would always say, add one more accessory. If you feel confident in a certain color, wear it, because the photographer in the room will pick you out and you'll be in those pictures that are posted afterwards, and you say, we had a networking, and you'll be seen, and it will give you a little bit of confidence. So don't go in the black, change for something in a color, because you would be remembered. You remember the woman in the black dress? No. Everybody was wearing a black dress. You remember the woman in the red? Oh yes, I do remember her. Yes. Those are the real key things. Authenticity, check the environment where you're going, pay attention to the details, and add color.
Because we definitely have changed. I was out the other night and I just saw a couple of photographs of the 1950s and 60s, and I said, oh my God, we've changed. I actually said that we've changed exactly how we dress. We've become so casual, and we've taken away that femininity of getting dressed from the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, we've taken away the details, and now the clients who are coming to me at the moment are all fed up of casual clothes. They've been 2 years in leggings or whatever they're wearing, and they're sick of it. They're really sick of it, and they want to get back into what I would call normal clothes, so that they can feel better, they can look better, they have more energy, they have more confidence. Yes, in the 50s you used to have to wear a hat and gloves. We know the photographs of my mother, God love her, where they had their gloves and their hat and their all tights and all the shoes and all of the details. And we've gone way to the other extreme. So that's back to the point of, just because the dress code is casual, it's not a rule, it's a guideline. You can move up to smart casual, you can move up to business casual.
Right, because maybe hopefully now we will
be very clear about how you want to be described.
Yeah, maybe now then going forward after post-COVID, we'll all starting to be paying more attention to the detail and what we're wearing.
Yes, and the clothes are there, Roisin. So there's an elevated comfort trend which is there at the moment, which is the trouser suit. The trouser suit is still around, Midi dresses are still around. Add a jacket, add a leather jacket. I mean, I can take this one off and put on something which gives me a bit more edge. I'm still carrying my impact, but it's a different look. But I would still feel very comfortable going to a networking meeting wearing that.
Right,
have a brooch, and I put my necklace back on.
Oh, I think, you know what? I have brooches upstairs, and I go, oh my God, is it too matronly? You know, because I love brooches. But
it's where you can add your personality. So mine are all fun. That's a wee fish. So that's where I add my fun element often.
Oh, I tell you, I might take a leave. I might start actually dressing again. And I have a whole lot of the bangles and bracelets and stuff, and I stopped wearing them. And I have them all on my dressing table on the mirror.
You have to bring all of you. And some of that is where some of how you express you is in your accessories. And because most women can wear an edge-to-edge jacket like the one I'm wearing now, but what you do to that is how you add your personality. Some of the clothes you buy will have your personality in them and you'll recognize them immediately. Others, you have to add something to them in order to get your personality in there. And for me, often it's a little brooch, but it'll never be a big, sparkly, jangly one, because that's just not right for me. Yeah. It might be right for somebody else, though.
Yeah. Oh, Maria, I'm conscious now because you're going to another meeting, and I'm just so, every time I speak to you, I'm just like a sponge, and I'm just like sitting there as if I'm sitting in an audience just listening to every word that you're saying. And it's great to talk to you, and hopefully you'll be back on with us again on a panel discussion, maybe about confidence or branding and anything to do with women, because you have a vast experience of, you started off in marketing and branding, because when you think, you haven't really changed, because you just stayed into branding for women and men. And what
but this really is my passion, Roisin. When I have a client here and they already are standing taller by the time they've left my studio, I think to myself, my job is the best job and my job is done here. It's fabulous.
Well, continued success, Maria Macklin. And
thank you.
You know what? It's always a pleasure to speak to you. And I'm going to go and I'm going to completely get back into my personality and start dressing again with all my little bits and bobs that show my personality. Maybe I've been hiding my personality for years, and maybe it's like, get out there and be me again.
Yeah, totally. Own it.
Just allow my personality to come out and be that confident woman again, and what we're all striving to be, and just be me, and stop holding back and showing my personality.
Stop holding back. Yeah.
Well, Maria Macklin, thank you so much indeed for taking the time to talk to Confident Women Ireland's Woman to Woman show today, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much indeed.